The termination letter landed on Emma's desk with a quiet thud, the sound of a career flatlining, effective immediately. The words blurred as Emma's pulse roared in her ears. Around her, co-workers suddenly found their screens fascinating. Only the intern, wide-eyed in the next cubicle, mouthed, "I'm so sorry." Mr. Carter leaned against her desk, smelling of expensive cologne and schadenfreude. "Clean out your things by noon." He lowered his voice. "Honestly, Emma, you should thank me. The market's brutal right now. At least, this way you keep some dignity." As security hovered by the elevators, Emma packed 12-hour days into a cardboard box, the framed business degree her mother had sacrificed everything for. The notebook filled with ideas Carter had called cute but impractical. The wilted plant she'd kept alive through 3 promotions he'd given to less qualified men. The elevator doors opened to the lobby, then to the street, then to the rest of her life. Emma took one last look at the gleaming Hartman and Cross logo and made a silent promise. "I'll be back. And you'll beg to hire me." Before we continue, let us know where you're watching from in this video. Drop a comment below and share your thoughts. We'd love to hear from you. The office was quiet, except for the hum of computers and the occasional rustle of papers. Emma sat at her desk, fingers hovering over the keyboard, her stomach in knots. She knew what was coming. The whispers had been circulating for weeks: redundancy, layoffs, restructuring, but she never thought she'd be the first to go. "Emma?" Mr. Carter's voice was cold, detached. He stood in the doorway of his glass-walled office, his expression unreadable. "My office. Now." Her chair squeaked as she stood, drawing glances from her co-workers. Some looked sympathetic, others quickly turned away, relieved it wasn't them. The walk to his office felt like a death march. "You're being let go," Carter said, sliding a termination letter across the desk. No preamble, no apology. Just 5 words that shattered her world. Emma's hands trembled as she picked up the paper. "Why?" Her voice was barely a whisper. Carter sighed, as if explaining to a child. "Frankly, Emma, you're just not adding value here. You're useless to this company." The word stung like a slap. Useless! She'd given this job everything. Late nights, skipped lunches, ignored birthdays. And this was her reward? "Clean out your desk by noon," Carter added, already turning back to his computer. "Security will escort you out." Emma's vision blurred as she packed her things. A framed photo of her mom, a half-dead plant, a notebook filled with ideas no one had ever cared to hear. As she stepped into the elevator, she caught her reflection in the metal doors. Hollow eyes, slumped shoulders. A failure. But then something flickered in her chest. A spark. Useless, huh? The elevator doors closed, and for the first time in years, Emma smiled. The cold wind bit Emma's cheeks as she stepped out of the sleek corporate building for the last time. Her arms were full of a cardboard box, her entire career reduced to a few sad office trinkets. She didn't cry. Not yet. Instead, she pulled out her phone and dialed the only person who wouldn't judge her. "Mom? I need a favor." 2 hours later, Emma sat at her childhood kitchen table, steam curling from a mug of tea. Her mother, Linda, placed a plate of cookies in front of her. Oatmeal raisin, her comfort food since 3rd grade. "So, what now?" Linda asked softly. Emma stared into her tea. "I don't know." The truth was, she did know. She'd known for months. The late nights at the office hadn't just been about deadlines. She'd been working on something else. A project. Her project. She reached into her bag and pulled out a thick folder. Inside were sketches, financial projections, and a business plan so detailed it made her mother's eyes widen. "You've been holding out on me," Linda said, flipping through the pages. Emma took a deep breath. "I was going to wait another year, save more money. But now—" She looked up, jaw set. "Now I'm doing it. And I'm going to make Carter regret ever calling me useless." Linda smiled. "That's my girl." That night, Emma lay awake, staring at the ceiling. Fear gnawed at her. What if she failed? What if Carter was right? But then she remembered the look on his face when he fired her. Like she was nothing. That was the fuel she needed. The bank's loan officer, a middle-aged man with a practiced smile, slid Emma's business plan back across the desk. "Miss Carter, your idea shows promise, but without collateral or a steady income—" He spread his hands apologetically. Emma's fingers tightened around her pen. "I understand. Thank you for your time." Outside, the spring sunshine felt like mockery. She'd been rejected by 6 banks in 2 weeks. Her savings wouldn't cover half of what she needed. Her phone buzzed. An unknown number. "Emma Carter?" A woman's voice, crisp and professional. "I'm Sarah Whitman from Venture Partners. We came across your business plan. Can you meet tomorrow at 10? Emma's heart hammered. Venture Partners was one of the most prestigious VC firms in the city. "How did you—" "A little bird told us you might be worth watching." The woman chuckled. "See you tomorrow." The call ended before Emma could ask questions. She stared at her reflection in a store window. Same worn blazer from her old job, same tired eyes. But something had changed. Someone believed in her. The next morning, Emma walked into Venture Partners' sleek downtown office. The receptionist led her to a conference room where 3 people waited. And then she froze. Seated at the head of the table was Daniel Graves, tech billionaire, legendary investor, and Mr. Carter's most hated rival. "Miss Carter." Graves stood, extending his hand. "Let's talk about how we're going to destroy your old boss." Emma's hand hovered in midair, her mind racing. Daniel Graves's piercing blue eyes studied her reaction with amusement. "You want to help me destroy Carter?" she managed to say, slowly lowering her hand. Graves smirked, gesturing for her to sit. "Not just Carter. The entire broken system that lets mediocre men like him keep talented people like you down." He leaned forward, elbows on the polished mahogany table. "I've been watching Hartman and Cross for years. Carter's entire department is a graveyard of wasted potential." Sarah Whitman slid a document toward Emma. "We want to fund your startup at triple the valuation you proposed. But there's one condition." Emma's pulse pounded in her ears as she scanned the term sheet. The numbers were staggering, enough to launch properly, hire a team, everything. "What's the catch?" Graves's smile turned razor-sharp. "You have to disappear for exactly 1 year." "What?" "Complete radio silence," Sarah clarified. "No LinkedIn updates, no job announcements. Let the industry forget about you. Meanwhile, we'll provide private mentorship, resources, and connections." Emma's mind flashed to Carter's smug face when he'd called her useless, to all those ignored ideas in her notebook, to the co-workers who'd looked away when she was escorted out. Graves tapped the document. "When you reappear, it won't be as Hartman and Cross's rejected employee. You'll return as their worst nightmare." The air in the room crackled with possibility. Emma picked up the pen. "Where do I sign?" The private elevator doors slid open with a hushed ding, revealing a penthouse office that made Emma's old workplace look like a cubicle farm. Floor-to-ceiling windows showcased the entire city skyline, while sleek monitors hummed along one glass wall. "This will be your war room for the next 12 months, Graves said, handing her a keycard. "Your team starts Monday." Emma ran her fingers along the cold steel desk, her reflection ghost-like in the polished surface. "My team!" A folder materialized in Graves's hand. Top-tier talent, engineers from MIT, a CFO who took 2 startups to IPO, all carefully selected to complement your vision. He paused. "And all bound by NDAs thicker than Carter's skull." Emma opened the folder. Her breath caught. These weren't just employees. They were industry rock stars who'd never glance at a startup this small. Graves smirked at her reaction. "I don't invest in businesses, Miss Carter. I invest in hurricanes." He moved to the window, the city lights reflecting in his glasses. Hartman and Cross's biggest client? Global Retail Solutions? Their contract renews in 11 months. Emma's stomach dropped. GRS accounted for 60% of Carter's division revenue. "Coincidentally," Graves continued, "that's exactly when your company will launch." He turned, the cityscape framing him like a king overlooking his domain. "You'll pitch directly to Grassboard. Beat Carter at his own game." Emma's fingers trembled against the folder. This wasn't just revenge anymore. It was annihilation. The first prototype failed spectacularly. Emma stared at the smoking remains of what was supposed to be their revolutionary retail analytics platform. The scent of burnt circuitry hung heavy in the war room. "Maybe we should have tested the cooling system first," muttered Raj, their lead engineer, poking at the charred motherboard with a pencil. Emma's nails dug into her palms. 3 months of work. Gone. Her phone buzzed. A news alert. Hartman and Cross secures major tech partnership. The accompanying photo showed Carter shaking hands with Silicon Valley executives, his smug grin stretching ear to ear. The team held their breath, waiting for her reaction. Emma surprised them all by laughing. "Perfect." She grabbed a whiteboard marker. "Now we know exactly how not to build this thing." As she sketched a new design, the team slowly gathered around. Their murmurs of doubt turned to excited chatter. Someone ordered pizza. Someone else cracked open an energy drink. By dawn, blueprints covered every surface. Emma's original concept had been good. But this? This was something Carter's mediocre mind could never imagine. Graves appeared at the door as sunlight spilled through the windows. He took one look at the schematics and nodded approvingly. "They fired the wrong person," he remarked before disappearing again. Emma allowed herself one small, satisfied smile. Carter had no idea what was coming. The encrypted email arrived at 3:17 a.m. Emma nearly spilled her coffee as the notification flashed across her screen. The sender, GRS_insider. The subject line, Carter's weakness. Her pulse quickened as she decrypted the attachment. A confidential Hartman and Cross memo detailing their GRS contract renewal strategy. Highlighted in red, primary vulnerability, legacy data integration. Client is frustrated with outdated systems, but fears migration costs. Emma's fingers flew across the keyboard, cross-referencing with her team's latest breakthrough. Their platform solved exactly this problem. Seamless integration at half the industry standard cost. A soft knock interrupted her. Sarah Whitman leaned against the doorframe, holding 2 steaming mugs. "You've seen it, then? How did we get this?" Emma accepted the offered coffee. Sarah's smile didn't reach her eyes. "Let's just say, not everyone at Hartman and Cross enjoys working for Carter." She tapped the memo. "This changes our timeline. GRS moved their review meeting up by 3 weeks." Emma's stomach dropped. They needed more time for stress testing, more beta runs, more. "Graves wants to move the launch forward," Sarah continued. "He's arranged a private demo for Grass CTO next Thursday." The unspoken weight hung between them. This is your shot. Early, unprepared, against all odds. Emma stared at the smoking prototype carcass in the corner, then at the glowing schematics on her screens. Tell Graves we're in. The demo room at Graves's private tech hub hummed with nervous energy. Emma adjusted her headset for the 20th time, watching as Grass CTO, a stern woman in her 50s named Victoria Cole, took her seat in the holographic projection booth 3 time zones away. Remember, Graves's voice whispered through her earpiece, Cole built her career on calling bullshit. She'll smell fear. Emma wiped her palms on her slacks as the connection stabilized. Cole's piercing gaze materialized before them, scanning the virtual space like a hawk. Miss Carter, no pleasantries. You have 17 minutes to convince me not to renew with Hartman and Cross. The team held their breath. 17 minutes instead of the scheduled 30. A test. Emma smiled. Then let's waste no time. With a swipe of her hand, she threw Cole's own company data onto the shared display, in real time, pulled seamlessly from their archaic legacy systems. Cole's eyebrows shot up. That's impossible. Our firewalls are excellent, Emma finished, which is why we built this. She tapped her wrist pad, and Cole's expression changed as she saw what Emma saw. Every GRS retail location worldwide, with inventory, staffing, and supply chain data updating live. The demo unfolded like a symphony. Predictive restocking algorithms, self-optimizing delivery routes, all running on a platform so intuitive Cole was manipulating complex data within minutes. When the clock hit 16 minutes, Cole held up a hand. Emma's heart stopped. "Save your last minute," Cole said. Then the words that changed everything. "When can your team meet with our board?" Behind Emma, someone dropped a coffee cup. Graves's sharp inhale crackled in her earpiece, but all Emma heard was Carter's voice from a year ago. "You're useless to this company." "Name the time," Emma said, "and we'll be there." The boardroom doors of Global Retail Solutions hissed open, revealing a scene that made Emma's stomach flip. Carter stood at the presentation podium, his custom suit straining at the shoulders, pointing to a slide titled Legacy System Migration Roadmap. His smirk vanished when he saw Emma. "Miss Carter?" His voice cracked. "What are—" "Ah, excellent." Victoria Cole strode to the head of the table. "Our final presenter has arrived," she gestured to Emma. "Hartman and Cross's former analyst, now CEO of Next Gen Retail Solutions." The blood drained from Carter's face. Emma didn't smile, didn't gloat. She simply set her device on the table and tapped the surface. A holographic display erupted above the mahogany, showing side-by-side comparisons. Left side, Carter's proposed 18-month migration plan with 12% estimated revenue loss during transition. Right side, Emma's platform integrating Gray's entire system in 3 months with 5% revenue growth. The board members leaned forward as one. Carter's pen snapped in his hand. "This is absurd. That technology doesn't exist." Emma met his gaze for the first time in a year. "It does now." Then she showed them the killer feature, the one her team had coded in a 72-hour marathon. With a voice command, "Show me Berlin store number 14's real-time footwear inventory," the system pulled up live camera feeds through God's own security cameras, with AI analyzing shelf stock down to the last shoebox. The board erupted. Cole silenced them with a raised hand. "Mr. Carter, would you like to rebut?" All eyes turned to the man who'd called Emma useless. Beads of sweat glistened on his forehead. His mouth opened, closed. Emma watched the moment break him. "Actually," she said softly, "I believe we're done here." The elevator doors opened onto Hartman and Cross's familiar lobby. Same marble floors. Same security desk. Same stunned silence when Emma stepped out in her tailored navy suit. The receptionist dropped her coffee. "Emma?" She walked past without stopping, Graves's lawyers flanking her like armored vehicles. The bullpen fell dead silent as she passed former co-workers, some gaping, others quickly closing social media tabs, showing news of GRS's shocking contract switch. Carter's assistant scrambled up from his desk. "You can't just—" "Actually," Emma said, producing a document, "per my acquisition agreement with Hartman's board, I absolutely can." She pushed open Carter's office door. He stood at the window, back turned, shoulders slumped. The framed Top Performer Awards suddenly looked pathetic in the morning light. "Office looks smaller than I remembered," Emma said. Carter turned slowly. His tie was loose, eyes bloodshot. "You set me up. Graves fed you everything." Emma tilted her head. "You fired me for being useless. I just proved you right." She placed a single sheet on his desk, the termination letter he'd given her a year ago. "Security will escort you out at noon." As she turned to leave, Carter made a choked sound. "What happens to my team?" Emma paused at the door. "The talented ones? They're getting promotions." Her smile didn't reach her eyes. "The ones who laughed when I was fired? They can clean out their desks with you." The walk back through the bullpen felt different. Some employees looked terrified. Others, the ones Carter had overlooked for years, straightened up with hopeful expressions. At the elevator, Emma finally allowed herself to breathe. The doors closed. Somewhere behind her, Carter started shouting. Emma didn't look back.